Yeah, it's always good to welcome new Broncos. Period. And this is a special class. Obviously, our first full class where we had 300 some days to put it together. Um, there's a couple people I want to thank before we get into talking about the guys. Um, Bill Johnson, Stryker, the Hinman Company, our fans. Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo is a fun place to sell because it's a special place because of the people that live here. President Montgomery and all our academics here. Our academic strengths are something that we use in recruiting a lot, and it helps us get a lot of great players here. This thing's moving on me. Kathy Beauregard and our facilities, and really our whole administration. The facilities here are special, and they're fun to sell. Kyle Derrickson, our recruiting coordinator, and all his assistants work hard to put this group together. Our coaches obviously spend a ton of time away from their families, and our best recruiters are our players. What they are able to do when these guys came on their visit helped us a ton. So it's obviously the highest rated class in the history of our league. We're proud of that, but I think they're a bunch of kids with great character, and they're excited to come be a part of our family. Obviously, I think we've addressed a lot of our needs. We needed some defensive linemen, and I thought we did a good job. I think we have 13 defensive guys, one specialist, and 6 offensive guys right now in this class. Obviously, the highest rated A.J. Reed is an unbelievable left tackle out of Muskegon that we're excited about. Every recruiting story is a little different, and this young man, wanted to stay close to home, hit it off with our players when he came here, and a lot of traffic late, people all over the country wanting him to be there, and he loved our players, he loved our guys, and he's going to be, anytime you're going to add a left tackle, quarterbacks and left tackles make this game go, and he's special. Caleb L will be a quarterback, Mr. Football in the state of Missouri. Had a lot of action early, came here, hit it off with Coach Johns, our offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. 3-time captain, which I thought was a pretty unique thing. To be named a captain as a sophomore is a pretty special thing. Led his team to a state championship. Pretty much everything they did, that whole team, was the first as they went through the playoffs. They lost the state championship game in a miserable fashion. He led them down there, scored a touchdown with 35 seconds left to take the lead, and then the other team went down and scored, and they lost. But what he did there was special. I think we addressed our wide receiver needs. We had two kids, Jaden Reed and Deshaun Bussell, both extremely fast. And that's been one of the things we needed was speed. We talk about recruiting a 6-hour radius, and Deshaun, people are like, well, how the heck did you end up in Knoxville, Tennessee, recruiting a kid? But, he's from Fort Wayne. That's how we got to know him, and ended up playing his senior year out in Knoxville, winning a state championship, was committed to Tennessee, decommitted in the middle of the year when things weren't going well in Tennessee. And he's good friends with Torres, our tight end that's committed, and that helped us get him. And he's a dynamic player. He's a great punt returner, kick returner, because as many of you know, we lost Darius Phillips. So Jaden Reed is a kid from Naperville, Illinois, who went to Matea Valley as a junior. Matea Valley isn't historically a great football program, and then unfortunately his senior year he went to a place and everyone found out about him, and it heated up quickly at the end because he was an all-state player in Illinois, and we're excited to have him. We've addressed defensive line needs. We got 2 interior guys, 2 defensive ends that are big, long, physical players. All from our area, which is exciting to me. Nick Mahalick's one of the best punters in the country, from Chicago, Illinois, that we've always talked to, and we weren't sure if we were going to take one, but mid-season we thought with Derek Mitchell being a senior, not really sure, to bring him in, and he does kick off too, so he does multiple things, so I'm excited about him. But overall, this class they're proud. They know that at least by ratings, it's the highest class ever in the history of the MAC, and I know AJ rated wise, but I talked to each and every one of them on the phone today about now it's time to go to work, because you don't get to bring those stars with you when you get here, So, but we're excited about the class, and and they're all excited to get here. We got 2 guys, Caleb Elby and Kenai Lovely, both guys that should be here in January, and great students, obviously graduating high school early and going to be working with us here in a couple of weeks, and the rest will get here in the summertime and will help us, immediately. Questions?
Staying there, quarterback coming early.
Yep.
Is that different than another position coming early? Is it more important?
Yes, no question. I mean, it always helps you coming early, but quarterback-wise, learning a system and really getting a chance to evaluate a player. We won't really evaluate him in the spring because he'll be lost, which is okay, but it at least allows us in the fall to have a really good evaluation of how he's coming along, The thing that's interesting about Caleb is he has an unbelievable demeanor about him as far as the way he communicates with people. He's very calm. Doesn't shock me that he was a 3-time captain. When I was in his house, I was very impressed with him and his mother and just the way he looks at things. He's a very humble kid, considering you look at his numbers. I think he almost had 10,000 yards passing in high school. And, I'm excited to get him here early. And with his maturity, I think he'll make the transition well. And obviously with Kenai's a young man who's a great student, graduating early. And, with losing Darius, there's a spot. There's a spot open. Every spot's always open, but that one especially is naturally open with Darius leaving. So it'll be great for him to get to learn what we're doing on defense, and a little bit easier at corner, cover the guy in front of you. It's not all that complicated, So he's special, and he just got, he had a lot of people on him early and broke his leg. So they all backed off. We stuck with him. Then he got healthy, went back, and had 2 picks, one a pick 6 in his first game back about a month ago. Took his team all the way to state championship. They all tried to come back in, and he wasn't having it at that point, So we're excited to get him because he's a talented, long player, and loves this place.
How many spots do you anticipate for this class? Do you think it's wrapped up at 20?
Yeah, we might have one more. We have one more out there right now, that I knew wasn't coming in this morning, So I'd like to bring in, I don't know what position, I'd like to bring in another quarterback. Not 100% sure we will, but there is one more out there that, it has to come back in the next 7 days if it's going to come back, But that would be it. We don't have to go to 21, but that would be the only position that we're continuing to look at. We're not going to stretch. That's the one position you never stretch at, So I'm really excited about the one we have, and there might be another one if it works out.
What's your opinion on the new early signing period?
Well, I like it. I mean, as recruiting gets earlier and earlier, 75% of this class was committed to us in June, and then with all they're doing is waiting. I mean, they can wait to January or was it February 7th? So. That's pretty much what people were doing. Back in the day, you used to make your decisions in June or January. When I was here, my visit here was in January, and then I committed and I signed a couple weeks later. So with 90% of guys making their decisions in June, I don't know what the rationale of the timing was, but there was no. But these 20 guys, there was no coach, I want to wait, or they knew where they wanted to go. They're excited to be in a group. They all communicate to one another all the time. They've been talking to each other for months and months now. We've added a couple here as the season gone, maybe like 3 or 4 guys in the last couple of months. But the good portion of them were done back in June. So they were all excited about it. It came in. It was the fastest signing day of my life. I mean, the Central Time Zone guys were in by 10, and then the Central Time Zone guy was 8:03. We got 7 in from 8 to 8:03. And it was done. So I'm excited about it. It's a good Christmas present,
And this period from this early signing day to February 7th, it's new for you and coaches around the country. How do you plan to approach that?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you're starting on 2019s. We're already watching them. We've already started a little bit, but now we'll really start cranking it up. We know who the guys are, but continue to communicate with coaches. It's all about every time you have a chance to go in a high school, which we'll have a chance to do in January, you have a chance to ask every single person in that school about the young man that we're interested in from the from the lunch lady to the person that meets you at the front desk to the maybe the student TA that walks you down to meet with the coach. So there's just so much valuable information you can get about the character of these kids. So for us, it's going to be 100% character evaluations for our next class, because next year the official visits start early, which is going to be brand new. There's going to be April, May, and June official visits next year, which is it's a big change. The early signing date was a big change too, but this is going to be no one knows what anyone's going to do or how you try to play it. And depending on right now, our senior class isn't, we didn't have a big senior class last year, and our senior class is even smaller this year. I think we got 10, 11, so next year isn't going to be a big class at all. And, but we're going to go through this first time January and first time official visits in the spring and summer. And this convention here in about 3 weeks will be huge for me to have a chance to sit and talk to everyone else. I've talked to Fitz at Northwestern a bunch about what he's doing, because no one really knows. We're all pirates. Everyone steals everyone's plays. There's not a ton of brand new stuff that's never been done before. Well, this is brand new. So we're all just communicating and trying to figure out how it's going to play out.
Maybe you took 3 guys from Florida, but the other 17 are from the Midwest, including 6 of the top 40 players in the state of Michigan. So the local recruiting is important.
It is. The 6-hour radius is everything, and we knew going into, we are going to scour the 6 hours around us. Guys that can get here, guys that have connection to the Midwest, that wearing this emblem is going to mean something to them, I just believe it, having lived it as a player here. But that doesn't mean we're going to stretch. We got to the point, we knew early on, DB-wise in the Midwest, our lists weren't as big as they normally were, and Florida's a great place to go to find quality players if we can't get them here. If you never know what position it's going to be, but we knew early on that, really early on, I sat down with Coach Sanders and we talked about how we're going to have to go to get the level players that we wanted. We were going to have to offer some guys down there, and the running back we got from down there, who I think is a phenomenal player. We had a lot of people try to come in on him late. He's from Canada. His home's like 4.5, 5 hours away from here. He was just living down there playing at a small school in Bradenton, Florida. Won a state championship. Came here to our summer camp. So I don't know if he counts as a Florida kid. He's a Canadian kid, and smart, fast, So yeah, it's always great to have that. And we have a ton of alumni down in Florida, and so when we do have to get out of our 6-hour radius to find the level of players that can help us win, it's great to have, Atlanta. Really, Atlanta, the places we kind of stretch to, Jersey, Atlanta, Florida are kind of the 3 places that, if at a position in a certain year, it's just not a very deep class, we know we can always go get people down there.
And you took 2 from that Class A powerhouse, Belleville.
Yes, one Robin Hook went to Belleville High School, and he's pretty excited about the fact that we took 2 DBs. Patrick Lupro is a phenomenal football player. He's a guy that we didn't offer here until about a month ago. We knew about him the whole time. He's one of our favorite players because he's just so physically tough and he plays so hard. And Kamari Carey is another DB from there who's longer, and he committed to us early. And we had one open up late, and there was a no-brainer with the coaching staff of who we wanted, just to have better, what happened to us this year, losing 5 safeties. Lupro's a guy that's physically tough enough to help us immediately, and just in case something like that happens ever again, to have a guy like that can play. And it's from the powerhouse Belleville, so that helps.
Can you talk about the process of recruiting Antoine Reed and what he's done?
We've always known who he was. We've Coach Fairfield there is a great guy, and we'd gone and watched the team play. There's tons of players on the field, but we went to a game, and so we always knew who he was. He knew who we were. He had everyone in the country wanted him, and he was committed. So we're not a team that recruits guys that are committed. We don't try to just bug them and maybe wear them out. And then for whatever reason, when I think really when he decommitted and became available, we knew he was going to stay close to home, and there was a lot of teams involved in that. And when we got him to campus, he came and he read Chooks' article. Chooks wrote his own article about what it was like. Chooks had a lot of things going too. And the moment he got out of his car on campus, he knew that this is where he needed to be. And I felt the exact same way Chooks did when I got out of my car in 1995, where I walked out and said, I'm not going to West Virginia. I'm coming here, And I think that resonated with him, But he had so much fun. He was really quiet when he came the first night, so I wasn't sure if he was cocky, if he was shy. I didn't know, And I'll never forget the next morning, all our players were like, AJ is one of the funniest human beings. I'm like, he talks, And then over the weekend, he got more comfortable with me and started talking to me. But the players loved it. I was shocked when they came to me and said how funny he is and how well he hit it off, And Chappie, our freshman linebacker, was his host. He asked for Chappie. I was like, how do you know Chappie? Well, they played against each other in 2 state championships, And he felt more comfortable in the couple weeks he was talking to us. Now we didn't let it out that he was committed to us, but we knew he was going to let it out on signing day. I think our commits knew before I did. I was kind of upset when he committed to me, and I said, his mom was upset too. I said, so are you gonna tell the other guys, because they're all in a group chat or something like that together? He's like, oh, they already know. I was like, mom's face dropped. I was like, they already know. None of them told me, and. So he's definitely got a connection with those guys and our players, and he just feels great. He's all smiles, like it should be when you decide where you're going. And I guess it wasn't like that at the other places, So, and he's a big, long guy that can move his feet as a football player too. But I think his personality and he'll fit in really good with our guys.
Who are some guys who you anticipate maybe compete for early playing time based on their skill level and just kind of some holes on the depth chart?
There's an easy one, Nick Mahalik. I mean, we need a punter, So he's got a great shot of punting, obviously. Speed. Speed is something that you can't replace. So I think both those receivers have a chance to compete immediately because what they can do with the ball, Deshaun and Jaden, and those are kind of the easy ones on offense. Defensively, we got 4 DBs coming in. And the great thing about the 2 Florida kids is they're swing guys. They can play corner, they can play safety, they'll strike you, So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the other corner spot because that's going to be wide open. And once again, it's another position. Wideouts and corners are, unlike quarterbacks, are normally positions that guys can come and make that transition quicker. So I know those guys. The other one is D-end. We got 2 D-ends that I think are pretty special. And you put your hand down and you got to beat the guy in front of you. So I could see those guys having immediate impact. The amazing thing about this class is, we've seen them all live, and they're very well put together. I mean, our 2 interior defensive linemen that are coming in are already 275, 285 pounds. They already have the size to play. And that's what's different. Last year in 17 days, we took some guys that were projects. And the projects are working out really well. Jaden Hall, one of our freshman wideouts this year, who had a red shirt. He came in at 150 pounds at 6'4". He's now 180 pounds and looks like a man. But he physically wasn't going to be ready to play. I don't know if there's a guy on this group that's not physically ready. Which really means it's up for grabs. Last year there's some linemen that needed to lose weight or change their bodies. We knew that with 17 days we needed to take the guys that had a chance in 3 years to be really good, but we weren't going to get a finished product unless we had months and months and months to recruit them. You know what I mean? And so this group, I mean, if you're 280 pounds and you can move your feet, you can play D tackle right now. So they're going to get in there and fight for those spots inside. So there's going to be, I don't know the exact person, but with the weight and the size, that they'll all have a chance to compete because they're not like a year or 2 away where they need to fill out. You know what I mean?
You mentioned your philosophy of not pestering recruits who are committed to schools. Obviously not off
No, they don't.
Um,
They don't.
But do you think that this early signing day kind of helps, schools like from the MAC, maybe hang on to some guys who, other schools might promise the world to, when it gets down to the first couple days of February?
It might. It might. I mean, there's not a lot to promise them. There's another date after this one. So we had almost every single one of our guys got a phone call from somebody. Some got a ton of phone calls from guys saying, "Don't sign, don't sign." We might have something in January, and most coaches, high school coaches, all of ours were great. They're like, "Well, you're not promising them anything. It's a maybe," and that wasn't a good detractor to walking away from Kalamazoo and the education here in this program. So it's definitely, I think it allowed us to, all the things that are going to happen in January, which they're going to happen again. I think it could be a good thing. It seems like it is, because that wasn't a good enough excuse to get any of our guys to not want to be a part of this thing. You know what I mean? And then we just say, well, they should offer you then. Have them offer you. Have them send you the papers if they really want you. So that worked out well for us, and it'll be, the way we do things is I think reflective of the school, of the town. We always try to do things the right way, and it's worked for us. It's worked because we, Anthony Torres, we treated the right way. He was our number one tight end on the board, and he chose Iowa, and I wish him the best of luck. I said, unless we play Iowa, I'm rooting for you, man. I like the kid. That's why I offered him and recruited him. And so when things didn't work out there, he called us. AJ Reed, same thing. I didn't get mad when we didn't. When you don't win, you wish, if you like the kid enough, and he chose somewhere else, and if that's where he wants to go, then I always wish him the best. And if it's a team we play, I said I'm going to root against you 4 times. And it works in the end. It's worked in this class a lot when things don't work out or they get to know other schools and it's not the right fit. We end up getting the first phone call back, because we treated them the right way, So I think it's the right thing to do, and I think it also helps us. Does that make sense?
And for Derek Mitchell, you mentioned that the punters can be similar to Campbell and Jack.
Yeah.
Does he still have a decision to make as to whether or not
He does. It's up to him. He's he's 30, married. He's going to graduate in March. I would love to have him back. Because Nick can redshirt. I don't think he's going to come back. I know him and I think he wants to start a family and get a job, and he's already got a mortgage. So, but it's up to him. And he hasn't made that determination yet. But we just needed to protect ourselves just in case. And so if Nick has to redshirt, he redshirts, and if Derek goes on into the real world, then Nick will be our guy.